First of all, I'm really glad and it's a pleasure to have you all here for today's webinar. My name is Aditi and I'm from Next Education. So we'll start the webinar. I can see people are joining. They will join us when we'll be conducting the session. They can definitely join. So today's topic is about from confusion to connection, making STEM concepts easy to understand. Just wanted to do a quick check. How many of you are like familiar with the word STEM, STEM? You all can put it on the chat and you can, okay. I can see lots of thumbs up. Okay, is there anyone who doesn't know about STEM? Or I will be more than glad if one can explain STEM in just one line. Any one of you can unmute and can explain STEM in one line?
It is a combination of science, technology, engineering, and mathematics.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Biplavji. Thank you. Right. It is STEM is like science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. So when I say STEM, it's not a subject. Those who doesn't know,
Hello, Aditi.
yeah,
Sorry for the interruption.
yeah, sure.
Hello,
Yeah, Razi, I can hear you.
Aditi.
Yeah.
Actually, there is one resound. Who anyone
Uh,
from the audience? Is the audio clear or there is any resound?
um, Participants just wanted
Yes,
to confirm one
it
thing.
is clear.
It's clear, right? My audio is clear to you all, right?
That's great. You can
Yes.
continue.
Yeah. Okay. Thanks. So we were discussing about STEM. So when I say science, technology, engineering, and mathematics, it's not a subject, right? It's an approach. Okay, thank you. Thank you so much. Clear audio and video. Okay, great. So as academicians, we all know that students anywhere, whether they are in college or schools, right? Students are students. Everywhere now we can see that they are bright in their own field. They are curious, right? Yet somewhere between theory and practice, many lose that spark. So today we will discuss how to bring that spark back. We are done with a lot of traditional, just a second, there is a sound coming from somewhere. Wait, okay. Yeah. So we have done a lot of traditional learning when we were in school. We used to learn in a very traditional manner, just chalk and the chalkboard, right? Just marking up the question and answer, going for the exams, doing all the theoretical part, like having the more weightage, less weightage on the practical part because of lack of resources, right? So these kind of this is what we call the old and traditional method, right, of teaching. Now, uh, just a quick warm-up activity for you all. This is very simple. What do students remember better? The definition of a gravity or the story of Newton's apple? You can put your response on the chat. What do you think as a concept or as a theory? Okay, it's a story. Thanks, Sylvia ji, for adding up. Okay, Nidhi Singh says story. Nishi says story. Okay, who else? Okay, Sumita ji story. Ningma ji story. Okay, Vaishali activities. Which activities? I didn't get you. Vaishali ji. Okay, story. Okay, Saima ji says story. Biplav says G says Newton's apple. Yeah, that means story. Okay. Yeah, a lot of stories, right? I mean, responses on story coming up, right? So when we say, I can see almost everyone said story. That's because story triggers emotions and visualizations. These are the two things which are essential for conceptual clarity, right? So as I can, when I say Newton's apple, I can really imagine myself that Newton sitting under an apple tree, right? That's how the visualization works, right? Okay, there's one more question for you all. Now, imagine explaining coding to your grandmother. Okay, that means you might all have, elder people at your place, right? If you want to explain coding to them, what analogy you will use? You all can write the response in the chat. Just you have to explain coding because they don't know the coding era, right? So sometimes even I also have older people in my house. They ask how exactly this works. You all can put your responses in the chat. I hope you all are writing. Okay, let me give you another option as well to respond. You can unmute yourself one by one and can explain me how you are going to explain coding to your grandmother. Practical method, okay. Concrete and pictorial. Okay, I will simplify it and connect it to her real life experience, like step by step things, what she do. Thank you, Saimaji, for such a good response. Someone wants to add, you all can unmute yourself one by one and can add. For me, it is more of like almost like whatever Saimaji said, right? When we talk about, yeah, simple step-by-step process, correct. So when we talk about explaining any technology to our parents or grandfather, grandmother, right? Because the technology is pretty new for them. I always go for the step-by-step process and more of a real life examples, right? The kind of a cooking recipe or yes, we can give examples using the daily life. Thank you, Sharmi, Karthik ji, and Christian. Say simple daily life things, right? It is more of giving instructions to Alexa. Is something which actually woos parents and uh, grandparents as well, right? So analogies bridge what's known with what's new, right? And that's what STEM teaching should do. When we talk about STEM teaching, I am not saying that whatever the traditional method we were using, they were not effective at that time. But now, at this 21st century, in the current like 2025, the need of the hour right now is more than a traditional way of learning. Analogies should be more of whatever is known. That's great that you know a lot of things. But what is new, the adaptability, the accessibility, and the acceptance, right? They all come together. And the reason why even national education policy says STEM, we can see a lot of STEM labs, we can see a lot of curriculum related to STEM based approach. What's the need? Why we are changing the old traditional method? Because that traditional method is not working, or specifically when we see our current technology, right? Mugging up question and answer will not work for our future leaders, right? So let's proceed ahead and just discuss about how did you use STEM today? You all can unmute yourself one by one and can explain one instance. How do you use STEM today? And yeah, someone wants to add, you all can write in the chat as well if you are unable to unmute yourself. How did you use STEM today? Knowingly or unknowingly? Are we using it daily? I have some examples in my mind, but I'm waiting for you all to give me examples. The audience count says 211 and
Hello.
yeah,
Uh,
yeah, yeah, Biplab.
Hi. Yes. Uh, Madam, actually, including STEM in the today's education, whatever as I am doing it, that is including whatever I am teaching, and its application wherever it is applying in science, how I am using my knowledge in science, how this knowledge is being used in mathematics. In this way, I am connecting all these things like that, that how they are going to be used in this area. I hope might be I may be wrong.
No,
Thank
no,
you.
no, you are absolutely right, Biplabji. Thank you so much for sharing your experience. Anyone wants to add here? How
Hello.
exactly you're using? Yes, yes, Chaviji.
I think including STEM in teaching will include relating the knowledge with the real life experiences and how to
Right.
apply that knowledge in real life applications, especially. Like
Mm-hmm.
the integrated projects can be used in that
Mm-hmm.
and their application, how they are utilized. Because just writing and explaining to them in context with the subject is not enough. How to apply that knowledge in the real life is very important. I think that is what STEM includes.
Right, right, Chaviji. Thank you so much for explaining it like so well. I got a response from Sharmi. Gee, science with real examples, technology with our apps. Great, great. Engineering, how they apply in real life. Right. Okay, I used it today to find direction, Ankita. Oh my God, you just gave me a very good example of using STEM. Okay. Simple daily life things and almost everything literally. Right. I mean,
Good evening.
yes, Priyaji, yeah, I can hear you.
I think we can take any case-based study and we can relate it to the STEM. We can
Okay.
use that case-based study through the science, through technology, and we can relate it to the maths also.
Right, correct. I mean, it is all about if you're cooking, right? You will take rice of some quantity. You will take
Yes.
pulses of some quantity. That quantity comes from math,
We can
right?
go towards maths.
Exactly, exactly, Priyaji. So when I see the examples of STEM, right, for me, the very simplest of the example which you all use in daily life, specifically like those who know cooking, is like adjusting the gas flame. Okay, and that includes chemistry and physics altogether, right? This is one of the very basic example. If you want to even boil water, we will use it, right? Another one which comes in my mind is online payments, right? There's a math and technology involved, and one of you wrote about they got the direction, got the help of the directions, right? So it's more of the navigation apps which says engineering plus AI. So we live STEM daily, but our students rarely see that connection. We can see it because we use it, right? So now it's our job to actually give them our perspective when we STEM in our when we see STEM in our daily life. They should also see the STEM in their daily life. So there's a gap, and we are here to close that, right? Okay, so let's know a little bit about STEM. As I already explained it to you, it's all about science, technology, engineering, and mathematics, but it's not four subject. It's a framework. It's an approach for thinking. STEM connects learning with the real life problem solving. We just now discussed in, last, I guess, in 15 minutes, we discussed a lot of real life examples going around us related to STEMs, right? So when I say STEM, it should be more of interdisciplinary projects, inquiry-based discovery, hands-on experimentation, and preparation for the future careers. Right now, as most of the surveys says, whatever we are doing it might not, be like continued as a job or a profession anymore in like next 10 or 15 years. Budgeting and calculation for maths, right? I can see a lot of responses coming right now. Okay, proportion of ingredients while cooking in buying or selling products almost every day from morning to night. Okay, right. Okay, correct. So see, you use STEM every day, right? But have you ever gave a thought, right? We use STEM every day, and it's a very common classroom scenario that why STEM feel complex. STEM often sometimes for some teachers feels tough to teach, and for some students it's very difficult to grasp because it's presented as theory before experience. When if just take an example, if someone will give me a new technology phone, right, and before handing it over to me, before me using it, if someone is giving me a theoretical description about it, I might not relate to it until unless there are a lot of visual videos or screenshots are used while that explanation, right? So it's more that rather than the experience before explanation. And here are some common challenges which I have listed down that why STEM feels complex. First is overemphasis on theory. Every time, whenever we in next, we do a lot of school visits, right? Whenever we do that, we see a lot of overemphasis on theory around us. And we feel that it's a high time to break that kind of the traditional way of learning and teaching. Second is low visualization, like second, sorry, lack of real life connection. When I say real life connection, we just discussed in like last 15 minutes all about the real life connection. It is our really daily use, even if it is a technology or using a gas stove or cooking, right, or doing a budgeting or calculation. Even if you're not a teacher, you are using STEM daily. While if you have a shop, if you have a business, you do budgeting, calculations. If you're farm, if like smart farming, right? Even for the simplest of the call, which you do, that also includes STEM, right? Now, third is too many abstract terms, very high level of the languages, very high level of the terminologies, not, everything which is being introduced for the first time should have a very ground level approach. It should be written and taught in a way that a person can grasp it easily without just doing a lot of Googling about the abstract terms, right? And when I say even washing clothes in washing machine and using our phones and laptops daily. Yes, thank you, Sayamaji. You are right. Right. The second last is low visualization. If, as I already explained it to you, if someone is giving me a new technology and it just, explaining me this theory part without any kind of the screenshots or videos right in front of me, I won't be able to relate it to that. Right? I need a proper visualization. And even if I'm not getting that kind of a visualization, I need a creative visualization in my head. As we discussed about Newton's apple theory. When I say Newton's apple theory, in my mind, as I already said, that Newton is sitting under an apple tree, it's coming. Just because my teacher taught me in that way. Right? Now, the last one is rote-based assessment. So rote assessment is more of the traditional way of assessing things, right? So we just discussed how exactly they are feeling complex and why exactly they are feeling complex. Yeah, yeah. Tandraji, do you want to say something? Okay, it's fine. Now let's look at how to change that, right? So we have already discussed them. I will not emphasize it much. Before diving at how to change that, just one question. If you had unlimited resources, like unlimited, whatever you want as a resource to teach, what STEM topic would you love to teach differently? So when I say differently, whatever we have learned till now from our school days to college days, if you go back down to that memory lane, I want you all to pick one topic and imagine you have all the resources to explain that one topic to the students. What will be the different thing or different approach you will be doing or you will be taking in? You can either type or you can unmute. Just think about a topic. Would you love to teach differently? How rockets work? Okay, this is really interesting. Okay, for kids, definitely when they see any kind of the animated movies, or they just, look at the sky or airplane moving or rocket moving, and, a lot of news coming in from ISRO and NASA about rockets, how rockets work. Okay, that's a good topic. Anyone wants to add? Come on, you all can think of some interesting topics which you want to explain it to your kids in your own way. Oh my God, audience of 248 and only one response. Okay, Saimoji. Okay, I can see. First of all, Iram, stem cell research. Oh God, I still remember stem cell. Saimur Rahman. As a KG teacher, I have done STEM like making bridges for animals or making track for different. Oh, that's a good approach. That's a really cool approach. Okay, focusing on problem-based experiences. Okay, Kuni Devi ji, am unable to understand. Like, if you want to unmute yourself and can explain it to me. Sustainable environment. Okay, much needed concept for today's world. I like to teach grammar. It helps the students to form. Yeah, Sharviji, that's a really cool way, right? In our next, we also, include a lot of gamified ways to make them understand grammar. So I can relate to you. Biplav ji, teaching about triangle and its use in real world scenario. Okay, I would love to be the part of this teaching because even I also want to know how you will apply this triangle theory in real life. Okay. Anyone wants to add? I like to teach electoral politics with classroom elections and voting procedure. Oh, nice. Yeah, it's a much needed topic. I would love to teach how resources are used in sustainable manner without wasting any resources. Like so good, man. I was expecting a lot of very school level of theory or concept related thing, but you all are coming from your own imagination. Okay, yes, ma'am. Children, those facing problems to understand the topic, how to make them understand the topic by breaking into smaller steps. That's a really good approach. Rashida G, building bridges for animals and creating tracks for cars to explore movement and balance. Okay. Okay, a lot of examples I got. I really love the responses right now, which you all have given it to me. Right. So, yeah. Okay, Nidhi ji, would you like to add something? My device was a mistake. Now, we'll go ahead. As I was talking about the connection gap, students fail to understand because they fail to connect. So basically, our job is to make abstract ideas very tangible, to make very difficult concept in a very easy and step-by-step manner, to move from confusion to connection. And connection is the only key to explain very difficult um, concepts, right? So going ahead, um, since we're discussing about from confusion to connection, there's a kind of a comparison which I have created of traditional teaching and hands-on activities. When I say hands-on activities, This is more of experience-based learning. That means learning by doing. So there is one concept of soil types. Traditional teaching says to memorize soil types. But when I imagine about any hands-on activities, test water retention in different soil using cups and water. Right? This hands-on activity will remain with kids in their memory for life, and they will understand the soil types better. Another concept says simple machines. Traditional way says learn definitions. Hands-on activity says build a working lever, pulley, or inclined plane from classroom materials, either whether it is a cardboard, right, or they can build a diagram. Nowadays, a lot of AI tool came in for 3D visualizations, right? Now, third concept is electricity. Drawing circuit diagrams, okay, quantity and capacity using bottles of children. Yeah, thank you, Madhumita ji. That's a really nice example. Thank you so much for adding. Draw circuit diagrams. When I say draw circuit diagrams, I remember me drawing circuit diagrams and getting clueless about like after 4 to 5 diagrams, all the diagrams look same to me at that time. Okay, it took me a while to understand. Okay, but visualization or simple hands-on activity would have worked. So build a working electric torch with wire cells and switches, right? This kind of uh, hands-on activity specifically for electricity will help kids to remember concepts for life. Now, the last one is area and parameter. Oh my God, I still remember this concept of math. Uh, okay, remember area and perimeter, right? So traditional way of that is saying solve formulas. I still remember solving a lot of theorems, going ahead and I have seen some students just mugging it up, right? What's hands-on activity says? Create cardboard shapes and measure area using graph paper, right? See, the reason nowadays we promote a lot of hands-on activities because the results are really good. The retention of the knowledge is really good. Like, for example, if a kid is learning with hands-on activities in grade 1 and they are learning any advanced thing in grade 2, it is very easy for them to connect because the memory retains hands-on visualizations, these kind of the activities, right? So notice one thing, that we didn't change the topic, we just changed the approach, right? So now, there are some strategies we are going to discuss for simplifying STEM. STEM as an approach, right? So first strategy says, make it real. Link every topic to real life. There are some examples I have listed down. Fraction become pizza slices. Force can be explained through playground swings. Coding can be explained with daily decision flow. Anyone wants to add one more example of any of the concepts? Fraction by an orange. Oh, nice. Anyone wants to add? Where we can explain any complex example relating it to the daily life?
फिर मेरे ऊपर आ गई अच्छा ठीक है
Genetics using gummies. Oh, okay. This is good. Okay. Layers of earth with the help of onion. Nice, Parakram ji. Nice. Force, how a vacuum cleaner works. Okay. Nice. I must say you all have a very creative mind. Right. So our first strategy says make it real, right? When we say about that, we are actually able to link every topic, almost all the topics to our daily life. And I have seen a lot of responses coming in which are more creative than my examples. So I'm going ahead with our next strategy. Right. So basically my entire agenda was that student learn best when they see the purpose before the process. Right. Now, strategy 2, tell the story of science. So stories humanize science. We already discussed about Newton's apple, right? These kind of the story transform very dry and very rigid kind of the content into memorable narratives, right? It stays with the child. So whenever you are going for any kind of the concept explanation, try to start lessons with why it matters, not actually emphasizing of what it is. Basically, you should emphasize why it matters, why they have to learn it. Once you clear the why in child's head, right? In like, if you will explain that why it is important for them to learn, they will sit with that kind of a sincerity and will be able to apply in real life, right? So strategy 2 is all about tell the story of science. Now, strategy 3, ask, don't tell. So basically, replace all your explanation with exploration. There is one example I have written. Instead of telling like students, the earth rotates, ask them, why do shadows change size? Right? Big, while when you will ask this question, why do shadows change size? They'll arrive at the answer through reasoning. Right? Okay, moving ahead. This is strategy for visual learning. I have already discussed a lot of things about visual learning, and I support visual learning a lot. Digital content is something which I feel actually works really well with students when you're explaining any topic. Right? When I say digital content, it can be a kind of a presentation which is visual. It can be a video, right? It can be an activity, right? Just a second. Yes. Now, in one of the reports I was just reading that 80% of learning is visual, right? Using diagrams, simulation, or even short videos. Now, kids, like, a lot of games have come up of simulations, whether you are an Android user or an Apple user or iOS user, right? When you will open App Store and you will write simulations game, you will be able to see that kids can actually experience how to drive or how to run a train from a driver's perspective. What are the parts, what exactly they have to do? Same for the airplane, same for car, right? There are different level of transport mode, right? Because I have experience. I was just sitting one day and just wrote a simulator in Play Store, and I found really good games which actually can help kids to understand that how simulation works, right? So we have a lot of tools nowadays, AI tools, whether it is PHET or Tinkercad, to make the abstract ideas to concrete, right? Whether it is a diagram, flow chart, simulations, animations, right? These all helps for visual learning. Moving ahead to strategy 5, use analogies. Yeah, PHET Java Lab, correct, right? Animation videos, right? Okay, use analogies. When I say analogies, analogies build bridges. Electricity can be explained through water flow. CPU works like brain. Loops repeat like dance steps, right? When they will understand, when they will get engaged, when students will develop that kind of the interest, they will remember all the concepts which you will teach with that kind of the analogy. Strategy 6, hands-on learning. So basically, when I say hands-on learning, we discussed few hands-on activities like almost like 5 to 10 minutes back. And when I say hands-on learning, it's more about let student build it first and then explain it later. Though I'm not saying to, apply this kind of thing for each and every subject, but there are some good robotics kit, DIY materials, right, which promotes learning by doing. we can get it right, and we can actually show students how exactly hands-on learning can be that interesting, and the concept can be interesting. The moment they see it work, even students will want to know why it works and how it works, right? The curiosity will be at peak. Strategy 7 is about cross subject connection, which I also call interdisciplinary approach, right? STEM isn't isolated, as I already told you. It's not about science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. It's interdisciplinary. How a rhythm works, it's math there. There are some notes, right? And there is a music notes. And those calculations are done through math. So math plus music, it's more of rhythm. Students, those who are interested in, more in uh, kind of rhythm or an art line specifically for singing and composing music, they should know that math plays a very important role in creating rhythm, right? When I talk about science, right, we have seen a lot of science experience. When I remember my physics lab doing a prism experiment and getting a WebGear out of it, right? That includes art plus science. That means color and light, right? So when subject meets, creativity grows. And when creativity grows, it automatically helps kids to explore more. So whatever you will be teaching in the class, they might get home and do a Google about it. They will learn more. It's just about how interesting you make it, right? Now we'll talk about strategy 8. So one of you, I remember, like in the starting of this webinar, said that specifically when I asked about that grandmother, how will you explain coding to your grandmother? One of you said about, I will be explaining it step by step, right? So that's what strategy 8 is. Scaffold complex concepts. When I say scaffold complex concepts, don't dump everything at once. Don't. Because if you will dump everything at once in the class, it might can lead to only mugging up, and kids can miss out some important information which can be uh, a kind of the concept which can be used for life, right? So breaking the topics into smaller chunks, right? Each chunk, each step will build confidence towards the last destination, right? So when we talk about charge, flow, circuit, logic gate, right? So these comes from electricity. This is an example of an electricity which I'm talking about, right? So scaffolding is one of the effective strategies. Now, strategy 9, which is my favorite strategy, is about encourage peer teaching. That means encourage students to teach micro concepts. I'm not saying just give them a very big concept to explain. Just tell them to teach micro concepts to peers. Peers as in not to us. They can, you all can make a group, different groups, and they can sit and teach one by one, one at a time. When they will explain, they will internalize, they will think where they are going wrong, where they are going right. Because what I have experienced, a lot of teachers are really good in that, in their field. The reason, because they can explain it better, and those who explain better have their concepts clear in their head. So peer teaching will help students to just get the clear concept in their head. Yeah, thank you, Biplab. Peer teaching is excellent method. Yeah, I know, I have experienced it. So it also builds the communication and leadership skills, right? We have seen a lot of kids, they don't speak in the classroom at all, but when they are with their friends, they are the most talkative, right? It depends on how comfortable they are in speaking in between the class, if they are shy or they are comfortable or not, right? Now, moving to the next strategy is about strategy 10. It's reflection and relevance, right? My first or second strategy says that always explain why it matters. My last strategy says end every class with just one line, that where do we see this in real life? So if I'm explaining anything related to AI, right? So there's Alexa, There's like camera, which they can actually observe it in the school. Yeah, peer teaching is an open communication, right? It can be about any topic. Now, as I was talking about AI, right? They can observe in the school surroundings. First is biometric, which teachers do. They might can see. Second is cameras. It's I guess each and every school nowadays, maximum of the schools have installed cameras, and they can see that cameras revolve 360-degree. Most of the parents have, not most actually, almost everyone is having I smartphone in at their places, at their homes, right? They can see how face recognition works, right? Nowadays, smart TV has come in. In remote, you all can speak. YouTube play this, right? That is also AI, right? So if you are teaching anything, just that one question alone, that where do we see this in real life, can turn that information into understanding, and then they will relate, right? So these were some strategies. Just one question: which of these strategies will you try next week? Or or I can ask, which of these strategies you like? Okay, it's very good. Thank you so much. Which of these strategies you all liked the most? You all can put it in the chat. We are using it every day. Yeah, I know a lot of teachers actually using all 10 strategies every day, right? It's good that you all are using hands-on learning, okay, to connect it with real life application. Okay. What is P2P? Peer teaching. Okay, peer teaching. Hands-on learning, Saimaji says hands-on learning. Nivedya, connect with real life. Kusumji says peer teaching is interesting. Rajiji says reflection and relevance. I have already tried peer teaching, but I am planning to do it with consistency. Okay. Peer, hands-on learning, peer teaching. Okay. Most of the strategies we use every day. Yeah, Nimisha ji, I know those who are like STEM teacher, those who are implementing STEM in their school, they might be using all of it. Ask, don't tell. Okay. Hands-on is always interesting. All are used. Peer teaching is beneficial. Okay. Discussion method, great. Real life, okay. Hands-on experience, peer teaching, storytelling, peer teaching. Strategy 8, scaffold. Thank you, Saimaji. It's a really good strategy. Nidhi G says hands-on. And then they say, okay, we are using these, ma'am. Okay, I know most of you all are using it. And it's good to know that you all are using it. I'm really glad that like almost 4 to 5, those who are actually teachers. Thank you, Nidhi ji. Yeah, hands-on. Thanks for the response. We are using these, ma'am. Okay. Okay. FBLD is good one. Okay. Hands-on activity. Okay. Scaffold and real life examples. Okay, I can see that. That's really nice that even I was able to give some kind of the strategies which might be possible most of you are not using, but you will now use it because you all got to know, right? And those who are already using it, you all are doing a great job. Like salute to you all, right? Okay, moving ahead, I have some examples of some concepts, and this is from our next education curriculum, specifically from robotics. When I say computers and robotics, there's one client server model with robotics. When I say client server model, client server model is all about you want the information from someone, right? And that information is provided from that someone, right? In a very layman language, I have tried to explain it to you. So there's one activity: program 2 microcontrollers to establish wireless communication and control a motor by transmitting a data packet from server to the client when one microcontroller functions as the client and the other as the server. As I just said, the very best example is of Google, right? Whenever you need something from the Google, you will just quickly type it and it will give you some of the information, and that information comes from server, right? But in real life, when we see about machine learning, when you uh, press a button, something happens on the screen. That is also a client server model, right? So in this activity, basically, we are trying to tell students that they will gain a very practical understanding of how connection is established. Because might be possible for us, when we look at the example, it looks like really simple that how connection is established. But uh, when we see on the large scale, when you talk about Geo or when you talk about any client server model based company, networking is something, network establishment is something which is a very crucial part of any network related or any client server model related companies, right? And now they will students will also be able to verify whether the connection is functioning correctly or not. That means they will be able to debug as well. Debug as in they will be able to understand what are the fixes, what are the corrections, how exactly it works. And additionally, the third thing is hands-on understanding. They will remember it for, I mean, I guess ages. Like they'll get mature, they'll be remembering this. Okay. Now, client server model, basically why this has a science concept. So first science concept which is used in client server model is power and energy. When we talk about two motors, like like one is client, one is server, and using client server model, you are using that energy into a motor. So basically, how efficiently the motors convert the electrical energy provided for the mechanical work. That means they are taking energy from the client server and then they are moving it, like motor is working, so electrical energy gets converted into mechanical energy. The first science concept is power and energy. Second is control theory. When we talk about control theory, it's all about how good and how a well established connection can actually control any part of the robot or any part of uh, client server model, whatever the output is, right? Coordinating accurately, consistent motor control. When we talk about machine learning, it will enable robots to carry out the task very effectively. We can actually slow down the motor. We can actually speed up the motor speed, right? We can make it clockwise. We can make it anti-clockwise. So that comes under control, right? Okay, I have some more examples of AI machine learning and embedded systems. So when I say about AI machine learning and embedded system, in our curriculum, when we talk about there's a definition of AI, and not only the definition, we are not asking the kids to only mug up the definition of AI just because it is out there. They should know in how, like, what are the types of branches of AI have. They have different branches. What are the embedded applications you can use it from, AI. And then there's a machine learning. Machine learning is a very, very, very big and crucial part of AI, because even when you talk to Alexa, that is a machine learning, right? When you see um, any Spotify song recommendation on the basis of what you just have played, that is also a learning model that comes under AI, right? So there are some concepts which we have introduced. So I was talking about machine learning. So in our curriculum, we have one activity to develop and program a robot. Basically, it's a robotics activity that responds to the hand gesture. Whenever I will show palm, it will move forward. Whenever I will show fist, it will move backward. That means here we are covering three major concepts, that is machine learning, gesture recognition, and control. Just all three major concepts in one activity, right? So as I already told you, through this activity, first they will understand the practical way of how machine works, how exactly gestures are recognized, and how they will understand and classify human gestures, right? And then, yeah, definitely it needs to be programmed, right? So how to train a machine, how to train a machine through coding, right? Demonstrating the real world application of AI in using robotics, right? So there are steps involved definitely. Whenever we come up with any kind of the robotics activity, we have steps. We have a robotics kit. We will tell how exactly materials needs to be gathered. What are the concepts involved? Mathematics, engineering, project management, critical thinking, right? And then when we talk about building the robot, we tell them how exactly to build robots step by step. What are the concepts involved? Physics of motion, electricity circuits, microcontrollers, embedded system, AI, design control system, manufacturing. There are a lot of concepts involving just one activity. That means they will be covering a huge chunk of information while building one model, right? So this is something training and testing the model with different hand gestures. Just it does not only say just palm and fist. Any hand gesture can work with these kind of the models. That means in our curriculum we give the flexibility of changing coding and changing AI based tools. And yes, programming the model. We have block based coding for programming the model, right? Model as in robotics model. So just a second. Yes. And yeah, each and every activity will come up with the science concept. When we talk about hand-based gesture, the first computer vision is a very big topic which introduced gesture recognition, right? So kids will understand gesture recognition, and then they will understand that how to personalize the gesture most, right? For example, if I'm giving an example of palm and fist, might be possible one of the student will make it from thumb band, a kind of a gesture like V or with peace or thumb or with just two fingers, anything, right? So they can personalize the gesture models, right? So this is an hands-on activity. Build a working lever, pulley or inclined plane from the classroom materials. Create cardboard shapes and measure area using graph paper, whatever we just discussed up here. When we integrate those things in robotics, they will be building about pulley crane robot, and they will be building a calculator robot. It is there in our curriculum, right? So there is one, just a second, I'll play this for you. I hope. If you all are unable to understand what it is one of our robotics model, okay, where there is a sensor in front. Whenever it detects there is no edge left to move, it moves and rotates, right? That is what that video is really short, but it is very impactful video, right? So that is in our next education robotics curriculum. That is one of the example you just saw. Now we'll talk about the role of STEM in future work. When we talk about it, innovation driven economy, STEM is applicable in all the fields. Just pick any field, STEM is there, right? Whether it is AI, robotics, biotechnology. And then the second point is in-demand skills. When we talk about in-demand skills, STEM skills such as coding, data analysis, engineering, which are really essential for problem solving and rapidly changing environments. The third point says sustainability and global challenges, right? So I am introducing our next education STEM curriculum, our the computers curriculum, whatever we are talking about and we just have discussed. The name itself is Next STEM, and we have some features. We include basic programming concepts, we include artificial intelligence concepts, we include interdisciplinary research. Whatever we have discussed as a strategy, we have it in our books, right? So students can definitely unlock their potential through your guidance as an academicians out there by understanding coding concepts, artificial intelligence, interdisciplinary research. And this doesn't only come on the book. We have a digital content with us. We provide a lot of training videos for the teachers to understand and master any kind of the skill which they are unaware of. I'm not saying that you all are robotics expert, but you can become one. We have videos for that, right? So it includes robotics and interdisciplinary approach. So basically, when I talk about STEM curriculum, it is computer curriculum and robotics curriculum with math and science integration in it. So here it looks like, you will see there's a robotics manual book, activity book, and there are like two choices. There's the next computer science curriculum, there's the next programming curriculum. Those who want more information on computer science, they can go with the computer science curriculum. Those who want to do more programming, they can do next programming curriculum. With this combo one, you will see there are like three books: IT Foundation, Code Explorers, Robotics. IT Foundation is all about IT related information. Code Explorer is all about coding, right? And robotics is all about the activity book, right? And then we also give a robotics kit, which is at the bottom. If you can see our photo and the video which you just saw, that is something robotics kit we provide. And with the help of our activity book, we can build the robot. Same as the combo two. Only one thing changes: computer science foundation book. If you want your kids to learn more about computer science foundation, you can go with this combo, right? Now, just a second. There is one more video, which is actually so this is the video of one of the school who were actually doing the robotics classes from our curriculum, and they created a good robot. That cardboard thing is not provided by us. It is something which kids made it, but the base which you see, the orange part, is a part of our curriculum. And here are happy students who are using Next Education products, right? It's all about the robotic class and computer classes, right? These are happy teachers. So there are a lot of question comes in that if I don't know robotics, how will I teach? So I already told you it's not a rocket science. This curriculum is for kids, and you all are teachers. We all are grown up, and we can learn at any age, right? So here are happy teachers, and the conclusion remains the same. We have to emphasize STEM. We have to prepare students for future challenges. We have to create very engaging and interactive learning environment in our classrooms, right? And STEM education definitely prepares students for the future. And the future is, you all know, it's like really advanced, right? So yes, here comes the end of our webinar, right? Thank you so much for being the part of this entire webinar. You all were very patient and very interactive. I'm really glad to connect with you all.